When you're trying to get something from Donald Trump, it's very important to keep in mind that one, he's the most easily manipulable person on the planet, and two, he's the greediest. That's why Qatar just handed him a quote unquote flying palace in the form of a Boeing 747.
President Trump is addressing reports that his administration will accept a super luxury jumbo jet from Qatar. The 747 would be used as his new Air Force One. Aviation experts say the plane has a face value of about $400 million. Four sources tell NBC News that the plane would be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation once he ends his second term, which of course raises several ethical questions. Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer compared the deal to bribery. Tonight on Truth Social, Trump said Democrats are bothered by the, quote, gift. He defended the deal as a very public and transparent transaction.
Okay. A $400 million aircraft is being given allegedly or ostensibly to the government of the United States of America, but then after Donald's term, it is being transferred to his presidential library, which, if it's anything like the library in my grandparents' house, will have no books in it. And I would be shocked if it were ever built at all. So are they going to park the 747 in the parking lot of the library? No, it is going to be available for Donald's personal use. So if it's a gift to the United States government, it should stay with the United States government. But that is not going on here. The reason we know this is bribery is because this is a $400 million payout to the person of Donald Trump. And he is the only person who is going to benefit from this grotesque gift. Now, of course, the Trump regime is complete lockstep in making sure that this absolutely illegal, unconstitutional bribe is above board, or at least appears to be above board. They're just claiming it's a simple gift to the government. I mean, who doesn't just randomly gift people $400 million in one form or another? But according to reporting from ABC News and NPR, which apparently still has funding, Donald, as I said, gets to hold on to it. The offer leaked as he prepares to travel to the region for his personal business deals. But getting away with bribery is not enough for him. He has a meltdown anytime anybody tries to call him out on his egregious corrupt behavior. In the wake of the news breaking about the Qatar royal family giving Donald a 747, he took to his failing social media site and wrote, of course, in all caps, quote, "So the fact that the Defense Department is getting a gift free of charge so bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. The Dems are world-class losers," unquote. Today, Donald spun out even further at a press conference.
I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too. And I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they put it and they miss it.
You know, clearly he's just looking in the mirror when he says things like this. There are protocols. There are reasons that we follow them. And the emoluments clause, which again is in the Constitution and makes it illegal for presidents to accept gifts above a certain amount, is because we want to make sure that presidents don't act out of corrupt motives. I mean, Donald's been doing that since day one in 2017, and nobody's ever stopped him. But this is beyond the pale. Is anybody going to stop him now? Of course not. What do you think the Qatar royal family wants from this person? And perhaps more importantly, what do you think he will not do for them? Donald's outburst completely gave the game away. He panics frequently when he knows that he's been found out. So let's be absolutely crystal clear here. Under the Constitution, this is, as I said, illegal. And I am going to bring the receipts because I've actually read the Constitution. In Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8, the Constitution says the following, quote, no person holding any office shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any present, emolument, office, or title from any king, prince, or foreign state, unquote. It could not be more clear. It's the emoluments clause, and it exists for exactly this reason. And quite frankly, it exists for exactly the kind of person Donald Trump is. Foreign governments cannot give lavish gifts to U.S. officials, and this is not isolated to the person of the president. This is anybody in our government cannot accept lavish gifts unless Congress signs off, period. It doesn't matter what anybody else has to say about it. It doesn't matter what the administration's spin is. But of course, the Trump regime likes to play dumb. And when it comes to Donald's back deals, they will bend over backwards to make stuff up to justify his corruption. Here's Caroline Leavitt just last Friday when confronted with the fact that Donald has so blatantly been leveraging the power of the presidency to accrue wealth for himself.
And let me just get to the premise of your question that both of you have raised. I think it's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit. He left a life of luxury and a life of running a very successful real estate empire for public service, not just once, but twice. And again, the American public reelected him back to this White House because they trust he acts in the best interest of our country and putting the American public first. This is a president who has actually lost money for being president of the United States. I don't remember these same type of questions being asked of my predecessor about a career politician who was clearly profiting off of this office. That is not what President Trump does, and this White House holds ourselves to the highest of ethical standards.
That person does nothing but spread disinformation and propaganda. All she does is lie, and yet we have to be subjected to her every single day because she is the White House press secretary. And she is all in on providing cover to the most corrupt administration in American history. And that is not enough. There is no comparison. The corruption is beyond comprehension. And what makes it worse, it is so blatant and it gets even more corrupt. Political theorist Jacob Levy, writing for the Washington Post, points out that this jet is not just for all that person does all day long is lie to the American people and spread misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda. But clearly, she's all in on the Trump regime and is more than happy to provide cover to her failure of a boss and to the grotesque and blatant corruption of the Trump regime. Political theorist Jacob Levy, writing for the Washington Post, described this the loophole that the Trump regime is using to justify the acceptance of this gift as a loophole big enough to fly a jumbo jet through. So let's go through this sequence. Qatar donates the plane to the Pentagon. The U.S. upgrades it with taxpayer funds due to the fact that it will need to be, one, cleared of any devices that could be used to spy on the plane's occupants. It will have to be upgraded in the sense of command and control. It's not just a mode of transportation. Like highly classified information is discussed on Air Force One. It is not just to get somebody from point A to point B. It is, in essence, a mobile skiff, if you will. After Donald leaves office, it's transferred to his library fund, which he controls, as I said, giving him free. Who else is going to be able to use this plane? Nobody. Not the Pentagon under the next administration, not anybody in the next administration. So this so-called loophole bypasses campaign finance laws, public transparency, and basic ethics, because a so-called gift to the government becomes a luxury bribe for Donald Trump. Now, before we go on, just remember that Mary Trump Media is not corporate media. We don't bend the knee. We are not for sale, and we never will be. We expose the lies the Trump regime tells every day and wants to keep buried. And independent media survives because of you. So please like and share our videos and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. It is not just the Democrats who are concerned with this $400 million gift, because even Donald's allies think that this is a bridge too far. You know something has gone completely off the rails if Fox is getting nervous about something you're doing. Here's Brian Kilmeade grilling Leavitt about why on earth the Qatari government would give such an elaborate gift, especially since they never have before. So what's so special about Donald Trump? Watch this clip.
Clarify that Qatar is giving us a new Air Force One as a personal gift to President Trump. Are they gifting it to the country? What could you tell us about this luxury liner that looks like a hotel in the air?
Well, the Qatari government has graciously offered to donate a plane to the Department of Defense. The legal details of that are still being worked out. But of course, any donation to this government is always done in full compliance with the law. And we commit ourselves to the utmost transparency, and we will continue to do that.
Do you worry that if they give us something like this, they want something in return?
Absolutely not, because they know President Trump and they know he only works with the interests of the American public in mind.
Yeah, they know Donald Trump, which is exactly why they're giving him this $400 million plane. Even Kilmeade, who usually swallows anything whole that is told him by the Trump regime, is not convinced, and nobody should be. But it is not just Republicans and some Republicans and Democrats who are sounding the alarm. Some of Donald's usual sycophants are not exactly sanguine about this quite alarming development. Laura Loomer, who is a conspiracy theorist and virulent Islamophobe, as well as being a longtime ally of Donald's, and has had influence over some of his decision-making, his recent decision-making vis-a-vis who to hire and fire, is actually calling him out for this. She rebuked Donald on Twitter, saying the following, quote, "We cannot accept a $400 million gift from jihadists in suits. This is really going to be such a stain on the administration if this is true. And I say that as someone who would take a bullet for Donald. I'm so disappointed," unquote. I mean, I love the fact that she's trying to be ethical while also being true to herself and remaining a virulent Islamophobe. So, I mean, fuck you, Laura Loomer. But you just happen to be right about the fact that the gift is unacceptable, even, of course, as Donald accepts it. Now, there have been times in the past when Donald's allies have become nervous because of how blatant his corruption is. It just remains to be seen whether or not it matters. And again, I'm not sure it will, because what does Donald do when people call him out, when people push back? He gets rid of them. So, sorry, Laura, your time may be up. This is not a one-off misstep. This is how Donald operates and his entire regime operates, typically when nobody's watching, but now they don't care if people are watching. In fact, that's probably part of the fun for them. In another high-profile grift, Donald is auctioning off White House access to the highest bidder. According to the New York Times, a Trump family cryptocurrency scheme now allows top Trump coin buyers to dine with Donald and take a private White House tour. People are openly admitting that they're buying Trump coin to influence U.S. policy. And the family, his family anyway, is profiting both from the trades and the inflated market. As former SEC Enforcement Chief John Reed Stark said, quote, this absolutely would have triggered an investigation under any prior administration, unquote. Instead, the regime has weakened enforcement so Donald can get away with it. Meanwhile, his company is admitting it in British filings that he still controls the Trump Organization, which we have been told time and time again is not the case. The same assets that are collecting crypto fees hosting auction winners, and raking in foreign cash. Meanwhile, his company is admitting in British filings that Donald still controls the Trump Organization. That is not supposed to happen, and we have been told time and time again that Donnie and Eric are in charge because Donald stepped down to avoid any appearances of impropriety. But he doesn't have to do that anymore, does he? No. Now he feels absolutely free to be as openly and brazenly corrupt as he has always been. There's nothing new here. It's just the scale. It's just the context that are worse. Yeah, but he's been a criminal forever. He's been greedy forever. He's been grifting forever. It's all baked in, right? Who cares? He's special. Really? The American people are okay with this kind of obscenity, this kind of corruption, this degree of corruption. You're okay with that, right? Do you understand how much this puts us at risk to have a president of the United States beholden to potentially hostile foreign entities because he only cares about himself, his power, his wealth? Do you know how this kind of corrupt arrangement undermines our national security? How much it impoverishes us literally and figuratively as a people? That's what you voted for. That's okay with you. The very beginning, I discussed how the emoluments clause can be enforced. Gifts that are given or offered to any government official have to be approved by Congress. That means that the Republicans in Congress, who control the Senate and the House of Representatives, have power here to put a stop to this. So for once, I would ask them, finally, at long last, do your fucking jobs. Please take a second and like and share this video. Be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.